Throughout this module, the image of a map keeps coming up as I think about unit planning. Before taking a trip, one needs to know the destination, an idea of how to get there, which route to take, what to take on the trip, and some important details like, do I need a transit visa in the airport? Do I need to pick up my luggage, or will it be transferred from one plane to the next? And so on. A unit plan is like a map, with all the details needed to get to the destination, students achieving the standards of the unit. While reflecting on the effectiveness of a unit plan, I recall some of the teachers I've observed and talked to during the Teach Now program so far. One of the classes I enjoyed and learned from the most was a project-based learning science class where middle school students were learning about physics. Not only do the students learn about physics, they learn about working together in groups, communicating ideas, solving problems when plans don't work the way students envision, being creative with limited resources, and budgeting in order to purchase the right kind and amount of materials to complete their project. The teacher uses a combination of various effective teaching techniques, including group discussions, individual work, small group work, technology, and on-the-spot assessments. Through the chiming technique, where one student shares the challenges in her group and other students chime in to share their insights, students learn to honor each other's ideas, communicate with each other in a respectful manner, and share ideas. This is one of the formative assessment tools the teacher uses to gauge her students' understanding of the topic. The sketching part of the unit allows the students to show the science they are learning and empowers each student to bring their own ideas to the group. This is a great way for the teacher to assess gaps in understanding content and plan future lessons accordingly. It is clear that the teacher of this class has carefully and meticulously planned out her science unit. She knew what the end product, the roller coaster, was going to be, and she empowered her students to learn the necessary concepts and skills to build their own roller coasters. She used various formative assessment tools to get an understanding of the learning taking place and where she needed to chime in with some additional instruction. What was so cool about this class was that the teacher also engaged her students in important life skills such as group work, learning from mistakes, and respecting each other's opinions. Miss Noonan was another teacher I observed. Through her teaching, I could see that she had thought through her unit and knew exactly what she wanted her students to learn. She incorporated some routine practices into her daily lessons that reinforced academic content. For example, she embedded the word of the day into transitions throughout the day. In this way, the students might not even feel like they are learning. Learning the content was made fun, and the repetition of content throughout the day helped the content stick with the students. I love the idea of students choosing the word of the day. This makes the activity student-centered. The grab bag quiz technique is a great formative assessment tool that the teacher uses when moving from teaching a lesson to individual work. In order for students to move from the carpet, where the entire group was sitting, to their desks, they need to correctly answer content-related questions asked by the teacher. This keeps the students alert at all times during the day because they know that they will need to answer questions at some point. The biggest takeaway from this video is incorporating content into classroom management. I love how learning is reinforced this way, how students need to be alert throughout the day, and how fun learning is made for the students. Miss Noonan's class was run in a very smooth, carefully calculated manner. Her approach to teaching and learning was shown in her constantly reinforcing the topics being taught in the class through various engaging techniques. I enjoyed watching Miss Latafat's intensive English class one day. When the students walked in the door, she immediately engaged them in a fun activity of listing all the countries they knew. While this was a fun activity for students, it was also a formative assessment tool for the teacher, who was checking spelling and punctuation. With the end goal in mind, a well-written paragraph comparing and contrasting two countries, the teacher asked the students to create a Venn diagram for two countries they have lived in. The teacher went around the room to check in with each student to make sure they understood what was required of them. Miss Tiffany's lesson plan for her math class on probability is very detailed and takes into account what the students are supposed to learn and master by the end of the lesson, according to the stated objective. What I love about her lesson plan is how she has thought through how she wants to engage students, explore the topic, explain concepts, and evaluate learning. Miss Tiffany has also thought about the varying readiness levels and learning abilities of the students, and has planned how she will differentiate instruction. In order for students to leave the class, Miss Tiffany engages them in a ticket out of the door question, where students have to explain one thing they learned in the lesson. A great formative assessment technique to help the teacher get an understanding of whether or not the teaching stuck, and what she needs to elaborate on further in the next lesson. As a first-year teacher who never learned how to plan a lesson, I have learned a lot in this module. Before planning my lessons, I need to really understand the standards I am teaching in a unit, the big ideas I want to get across to my students, and ways in which I will assess student learning along the way. Just like a map, a unit plan will help me make sure that my students reach the desired destination.